It's the news on Pacetv. My name is Stella NIDECOP. The Niger Delta Coalition of Persons with Disability, NIDECOP, has charged government agencies to pay attention to them in terms of employment and empowerment. The president of the association, NIDECOP, made this statement with state newsmen in Port Harcourt, Rivers State Capital. According to him, they have been neglected by the NDDC, Niger Delta Development Commission, in the area of employment. Pacetv's Ekundayo Yalowo, our correspondent, has the rest of the story.
Lack of employment opportunities remain the biggest challenge facing people with disability in many developing countries like Nigeria. According to the Niger Delta Coalition of Persons with Disability, NIDECOP, attested to this when the group cried out that most government agencies are neglecting them in terms of employment and empowerment. In a chat with newsmen in Port Harcourt, Rivers State Capital, the president of the association, David said they have been neglected by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, which has refused to include them in giving out jobs. Enogo also called on government for implementation of laws that will protect and guarantee welfare of people living with disabilities.
We are constrained to complain that we have not felt the impact of the presence of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs and the Niger Delta Development Commission in our endeavors and aspirations. This anomaly should be adequately addressed without delay. In this regard, we are forced to say that if disability is an offense, then grant us amnesty. We wish to state that henceforth, no road, building, or other public institution should be approved without compliance to international standards in terms of accessibility.
The group also disclosed that government needs to grant qualified people living with disability automatic employment and training in vocational skills, among others.
We therefore demand the following. 1. That qualified persons with disabilities, which are the voiceless and mostly marginalized group in the region, be given automatic employment, trained in vocational skills, appointed into boards, awarded special overseas scholarships, and adequately included in all programs and activities of government at all levels.
There has always been a barrier. They have always excluded us from every of their programs, maybe because of our nature of disability. We are disabled persons, but we are mentally informed. Our brain works. We must stand on our ground to fight for what rightly belongs to the disability community.
Live with some form of disability, out of which about 3% experience significant difficulties in functioning. Ekundayo Oyalowo for Pacetv News.
More than 30 people were killed on Tuesday night when a bomb blast ripped through packed crowds in Yola, northeast Nigeria, just days after President Muhammadu Buhari visited, declaring that Boko Haram were close to defeat. The explosion happened at about 8:20 p.m. in the Jambutu area of the Adamawa state capital, although it was not immediately clear whether it was caused by a suicide bomber or an improvised explosive device. According to the Yola coordinator for the National Emergency Management Agency, Said Bello, 32 persons have been recorded dead and about 80 injured. Tuesday's blast was the first in Nigeria this month of November, indicating the army's strategy to cut off the Islamist supply lines and target their camps was paying off. President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the arrest of persons indicted by the interim report of the Investigative Committee on Arms Procurement. The order is a release issued by the advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina. The committee discovered that budgetary interventions in local currencies amounting to over 640 billion naira and foreign currency of about $2.2 billion were siphoned by those entrusted with national security. The Senate has asked the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board (JAMB) to increase the validity of its results from 1 year to 3 years. This was one of the recommendations adopted by the Senate after debating a motion on the examination body's new admission policy. The federal lawmaker, Senator Joshua Lee Dani, at plenary drew the attention of the Senate to a recent policy formulated by JAMB, which he warned runs contrary to the laws of setting up JAMB. The policy stipulates that candidates of universities with surplus applicants for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations (UTME) are reassigned to other universities with lower numbers of candidates than their capacities. The new Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, said his ministry would soon roll out programs, policies and slogans on the change agenda. The minister disclosed this at an interactive session with newsmen on Tuesday, shortly after he met with the Association of Civil Servants of Nigeria in Abuja. Mohammed said that the program would enlighten Nigerians on the need to positively change their attitude and ensure they do the right thing. The minister said the change agenda of the present administration could only succeed if Nigerians decide to change their attitude towards the change mantra. You're still on the news on Pacetv. Coming up next is business news. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. The volume of trade between Nigeria and Japan in 2014 is about $4.5 billion. This disclosure was made by the Trade Commissioner and Managing Director, Lagos Office, Japan External Trade Organization, JETRO, Mr. Taku Miyazuki. Miyazuki explained that import from Japan to Nigeria and export from Nigeria to Japan increased significantly, stressing that the import from Japan mainly consisted of machinery, steel products and vehicles marked around 728 million, representing 210% increase compared to 2013, while export from Nigeria to Japan was dominated by natural gas and a few sesame seeds, which also increased by 36.8% in 2014. JETRO is a Japanese supportive government organization which promotes trade and investment between Japan and other countries. As a measure to reposition and reinforce competitiveness in business, Airtel Nigeria on Tuesday disclosed that it had sacked some of its employees. Although the exact number of employees affected by the development was not disclosed by the company, it was ignorable and they were duly compensated. The Director of Corporate Communications of the company, Mr. Emeka Okpara, in a statement disclosed that the restructuring would focus on aligning the company's structure with its operating model. Bharti Airtel, in order to consolidate its stake in Nigeria, had recently commenced final talks to sell 4 of its African subsidiaries to its Francis Orange, South Africa, for $1 billion. It's still the news on Pacetv. Coming up next is sports. Don't go anywhere. It's good to have you back. The Super Eagles have qualified for the group stage of the 2018 World Cup qualifier after defeating Swaziland 2-0 in the second leg of their tie in Port Harcourt on Tuesday. Goals from Moses Simon and Efe Ambrose secured the win against the stubborn Swaziland side. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Football Federation, headed by Mr. Maju Pinnick, has advised the team coach Sunday Olise to focus his attention on the home-based players, develop them and make good use of them in subsequent matches. Giwa Football Club of Jos and 2 of its players have been sanctioned by the league management company LMC for their roles in the abandoned match day 38 fixture in Lafia against host Nasarawa United. The Jos-based side had refused to continue with the game on 34th minute, forcing the referee to call off the match at the expiration of the first half, thereby breaching Article 13 and 26 of the framework and rules of the Nigeria Professional Football League. The players Amos Gyang and goalkeeper Nojim Raji had on separate occasions refused to retire to the dressing room after being expelled for initial violent behaviors. Giwa FC was fined 3 million naira, a deduction of 3 points and forfeit of 3 points and 3 goals to Nasarawa United for the abandoned match. The Nigeria Football Federation will on Sunday at the final of the 2015 Federation Cup finals honor more of those who had contributed to making the Federation Cup the most glamorous football tournament in the country. The yearly honor is part of the attempt to restore glory to a tournament that used to draw the biggest crowds as this tournament of shocks and intrigue unfold. The 2015 edition of the Federation's Cup honorary list include former shooting star striker Rashidi Yekini, Baba Otu Mohammed of Mighty Jets, Best Ogedengbe, former Standard of Jos defender Oke Isima, Faide Ekpo, Sam Opone, Amusa Adisa, Inusa Rigogo, Dairu Saidi, and Ifeanyi Fayonyedika of the Enugu Rangers. The 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympic remains very much alive in the national women's basketball player Ndidi Madu's mind. The Tigers narrowly missed the opportunity to becoming the only team to grab the automatic ticket to next year's Olympic in Brazil at Afrobasket Women 2015 held in Yaoundé, Cameroon, but were unfortunate as they fell short to host Cameroon in the semi-finals. Nigeria outplayed former African champions Angola in the third-place game and as a result clinched the last spot for next year's 12-team FIBA Women's Olympic qualifying tournament, WODI, which will run from 13th to 19th June in Spain or France. The team that finished in the top 5 of the Women Olympic qualifying tournament will succeed a spot in the Olympics, and Madu, who had rated valuable 8 points and 9.5 rebounds in Yaoundé, is adamant that one of the 5 spots will go to Nigeria. On the foreign scene, Andy Murray and Rafael Nadal produced emphatic responses to the critics as they kicked off their ATP Tour Finals campaigns in dominant fashion on Monday. Murray silenced the doubters who claimed he was distracted by dreams of Davis Cup glory with a gritty 6-4, 6-4 win over David Ferrer, while Nadal, beset by problems during the worst year of his career, showed he isn't finished yet with a 6-3, 6-2 thrashing of French Open champion Stan Wawrinka. Coming up next after this break is entertainment. It's good to have you back. Star Nollywood actress and filmmaker Omoni Oboli has been endorsed as the brand ambassador of Nunu Milk. The mother of 3 made the announcement of this latest achievement on Friday when she took to her Instagram page with a photograph of herself signing the new contract. Oboli also recently announced that her latest movie, The First Lady, will be having a cinema premiere and that in Ghana, and that she will be taking the movie to the UK later this month. And with that, we come to the end of today's news on Pacetv. Once again, my name is Stella. Thank you for watching.